All right. I want to welcome everyone to the first Fusion Q&A webinar. So on the webinar today, we have Michael Testalona, Eric Brief, Dan Anton. I think Greg is on here too. I don't think his camera's on, but I
Joe,
think
you're sharing your text messages.
Or I'm here, Joe.
Oh, the
Oh,
wrong
he's got nothing to hide there though, and his background's extremely cool. It
Wait,
is a cool
I'm showing
background.
the wrong screen. Hold on, let me show my
Yeah,
other
I've got
screen.
your desktop pulled up. There you
There
go.
it is. You're
There it
good.
is. All right, thank you. Okay. So this is going to be a Q&A webinar. So if you guys go in the question box right there, let's see who's on. We see Jason's on, Brian, David, Sutherland. What's happening, guys? All right, guys. So this webinar is about you guys. And I know you guys have gone through, some of you have gone through a lot of the Fusion protocol so far. We've gotten a few support questions in and different things we've been answering, but this is where you get to ask your questions. If you have any roadblocks, if you have any things that you need help with, this is where you do it. So let's see. We got Bruce from North Hollywood. Shane says, just join. What's the best place to start? Shane, it really depends on where you're at.
It's a great question though. It's a really good question.
Yeah. I mean, what's up, Shane? We know Shane. I've seen Shane at, we met him at the last OMG Live.
Yeah, he's been an OMG a while.
Yeah. So I know he's a little more advanced. Start at the beginning, Shane. You can't go wrong from there.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of the stuff that Eric and Michael have is different than you probably haven't seen anything like that inside OMG before. Plus a lot of the fulfillment too that Dan showed. He showed a lot of different ways. So it's just go through, start from the beginning, go through the whole thing. Phil asked, this may be one for you guys, Eric and Michael. It's about leads. Sure. He just said, just want to know about how to acquire leads, paid or any other source derived.
Eric? Well, that's a mouthful. It's a big question there. So I think probably here's how I would look at it is the first question, and this is like to frame that question is, how big of an agency do you want to grow in the next 6 months? I think if once you answer that question, your answer might come into focus. So the first thing I would do is, like, if you already have an agency that's got lots of new clients, that have, let's say you got 10 clients and you're, at, let's say $10,000 plus a month, now's probably the time that you want to start looking at creating a sales machine, for lack of a better word. And there's a course that we have called Sales Machine, which is going to support you in doing that. But if you have less than 10 or even 15, 20 clients, my recommendation really is that you go into the material that we have about creating leads and talking about how to use your network that's like directly in front of you without having to pay for anything, and ultimately it's going to help you help those people that are directly in your network just get better results with their digital marketing. So just to kind of review what we have there, that is literally like your friends, your family members, your friends of your friends and family members, and just kind of being aware of the digital marketing universe that's directly in your arm's reach. And so even if that means just asking the people right around you questions about what they're doing with their digital marketing, just that question alone, you don't need to come up to someone and, like, with your pitch book, so to speak, just ask them a couple of questions about their digital marketing and share. So that's probably the best. And then obviously go through all the materials, like any way that you want to outreach those people once you start that conversation, or how to breach that conversation. All those materials are in the members area when it comes to what Michael and I put together. So can we get, does that answer your question, or does that give some insight for anyone else who is also thinking the same thing but hasn't asked yet?
I think Eric, one of the questions that keep coming up, a few different people ask the same question about what about going beyond, you know, a lot of people are like, I don't have a network. You know, how do I go beyond just the people I know? Or say, I approach the people I know, they're not interested. Um, you know, is there any other ways like they can prospect in their
Yeah.
local
Yeah,
area?
we
Yeah.
just made up a video. Michael has a great answer to that question. Remember you said that one power line, Michael, in the video we made?
Well, the thing is, we had gotten a few support tickets about getting more leads, and so I think it was on Friday we had put together a 26-minute video, and it's basically the top 10 ways to prospect for your agency. And I know on Saturday I think I got an email from David saying he had put it in the members area. I'm not sure if it's there yet. But if you go through that training, it's going to give you a lot of different ideas. We start off with, family and friends, but then we just go through the list of, everything that you possibly can do, from attending networking events, pitching, people that you interact with, that you buy things from, businesses that you frequent, businesses in your area. Geez, what else? Yeah, there's a top 10. I mean, ultimately, and I think this is what Eric was really alluding to. Like ultimately, you're gonna want to find a way where it's just infinite, where there's an infinite amount of leads, an infinite amount of prospects, and that's really where you can go from complete cold to becoming a new client. But before you get there, yeah, just watch the video. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of information. I mean, I've been running an agency since 2013. I joined OMG in 2015, and basically, I looked at all of the different clients that I've gotten through the years that wasn't, via the sales machine process, and we essentially just put that into the top 10.
Yeah, and I would say is like, Michael, the one liner that you said was like, if you're saying to myself, like, I don't want to talk to X person, Y person, I'm not going to reach out to this, that's pretty much the exact thing that's going to stop you from growing your agency.
Oh yeah.
Whether we're talking about people you know or people you don't know and reaching out to them, you really want to like remove any kind of barriers that you have to talking about digital marketing with small business owners, no matter who they are, because it's that blinder that you don't necessarily know is there that's stopping you from sharing this. Because without question, if a business has this, they're going to have the best possible digital marketing tools, person working for them with incredible detail and resources, and that person is you because you have these tools. So you are only going to be helping people. But just kind of like, if you're saying to yourself, what if I don't have a network? Or there's nobody that does not have a network. you know uh,
Sure.
you have people that you interact with, like the services that you get, like all of your doctors, all of the people you've ever had hired for some work in your house, all of the people that you went to middle school, high school, university, whatever it may be, with, they have jobs and
They have
businesses.
jobs
Yeah.
at businesses who need digital marketing. Literally every single person that you've ever met in your life has a job. Well, I hope a lot of them, maybe 95%, they have jobs, and
They
those
have things
businesses
that they do for
need,
money.
yeah, those businesses need services. And another thing, I mean, I don't know if how many questions there are, or if we can just rant on this a little bit more, Joe. You can feel free to just cut us off.
Well, I just want to. No, you guys can keep going, but I just wanted to kind of coincide what you guys are saying. Jason just commented. I just got the guy who put our snow tires on to do SEO. Right?
Amen.
It's like,
There it is.
who would think like that's not their network? Maybe the guy's putting on their snow tires. You got him to do SEO. He said that he has a window company. The guy asked how he got leads, and he told him like, well, we used to do this and that, but now we do SEO. And I guess he got the SEO from the guy. So I think it's like just like what you guys are saying. Like, don't limit yourself, right? Everyone has a network. Like, you interact with people every single day. But one
Unf-
question that David Sutherland asked too is, He wants to ask people, but he doesn't want to sound like he's pitching them. So I guess it's like, is there a soft approach where you don't come off like you're pitching?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's scripts that literally just go over this. So if you take a look at those scripts, I mean, the best line that like I've used, the one that I really like is it's just kind of like a curiosity angle, and it's basically like it's essentially like, hey, I got something I think could help you. Would you be open to hearing about it? That's it. And
That's the magic sauce right there, Michael. Hold on. Just, I don't want that to be lost. Are you open to hearing about it? So they have a choice to say yes or no. And here you want to ask that question, not being like, it's okay if you don't want to hear about it. Like, you want to present that question with no charge, like, hey, are you open to hearing about it? And being okay with whatever they say.
you're okay with
Now,
the no. You're okay with the
exactly. Yeah, but don't be like, you don't have to ask that question. Well, if there was a priority of like an order that I would say is the best way, right? The first best way to ask that question would be authentically engaging them in the question and being totally cool whether they say yes or no, but asking with great confidence. Two, this next one would be like kind of like not giving them a choice. That's better than the third one, which is like, no, would you be interested? Well, you don't have to be. Like, asking it like that, that's pretty much the worst way that you can ask it, because you're pretty much giving them the opportunity to not even think about whether or not they want to do it.
Yeah, just deliver that line and don't apologize. But yeah, I mean, no, I mean, that's why we had spent so much time really trying to get this frame right, so that you guys are really coming from the right place. Because if the whole context, like in your mind, before you have a conversation with them is like, I know I can help this person. If like that's what's going on in the back of your mind, you're going to deliver it like perfectly. You're just going to say to them like, hey, I think I could help you. Are you open? And that's it. And then you just got to, show them what you can do. Um, I was going to say, because Eric, you had mentioned the whole that line being, the thing that's holding you back. So when we were creating the training video, one of the things we talked about, so if you don't have a network, here's, something that we go over in that training video, which can help, is using social media. And so I was telling the story about how I was actually looking to hire a cold caller for the agency. And so I went onto a local Facebook group in my area. So I live right next to Hoboken, New Jersey. So I go on the Hoboken Mommies group,
Love
and
this.
I wrote a post, and it was like, hey, I run a digital marketing agency. We're growing pretty quickly, and I'm looking for somebody to help me on the sales side. And if you know somebody who'd be interested in part-time remote work, feel free to PM me. And so a bunch of women, moms, like PMs me because they wanted, some like part-time stay-at-home work. But I also got message from somebody who's like, hey, my husband is a contractor and he's looking to grow his agency. Well, he's looking to grow his business, and he could use the help of a digital marketing agency. And so,
That blew me away. I was like, what?
yeah, so it's really like the opportunities are endless. You gotta be thinking about how many businesses are opening and closing every single month. And in that environment, there's just opportunity left and right. And sometimes it's just a matter of just, raising your hand and letting people know that you're there, you've got something valuable to offer. I think that if you're just starting out, like literally you've never been in digital marketing before, I think the best thing that you could possibly do is like announce on social media that like, hey, I just got a part of this program. I'm really excited to learn about helping small businesses with digital marketing. And you can just post like as you're like the things that you're learning. If maybe you set up like a test, a test site where you could create, or or you do the Fusion protocol for your own digital agency, for your own website, and then you can post what the results are. And I guarantee you, people are gonna come through the woodwork. That's the way it goes. Yeah, people are gonna come through the woodwork who you would have never imagined are like, you know, candidates for this service. I mean, that's again, that's exactly what happened to me a couple of months ago, either in the beginning of the summer or the end of the spring. I ran, you know, I was looking on I was looking at my rank tracker and I saw that, oh man, we did pretty good results for this lawyer. And so I just screenshotted it and I, you know, threw it on Facebook. And the next day I got hit up by an old college buddy, somebody I hadn't spoken to him in years. We had lost touch. I had no idea, but it turns out he was running, you know, his parents', you know, jewelry business, and you know, now he's been a client for the last couple of months, you know, at 2K a month.
You've been
So
killing it for them, right?
yeah, no, we've been doing a great freaking job, and I mean, there's like no surprise there. I don't even need to like. I mean, we follow the scripts, the SOPs that Dan. I don't think I told you this, Dan. Like when I went through that SOP training, my like mind was blown. I'm like, how the hell did this get into a $999 product? Like that's insane. Like your SOP videos are like worth 10x that.
I
But
appreciate
Yeah, he
that.
keeps on like telling me in my ear every other day. He's like, "Oh, this dance stuff's so good."
I only know how to
Um,
teach what I'm doing.
yeah.
You know?
There was another question that came in, and I want to we'll go through some of these sales questions, and then we can do some more operational stuff. So John Carlson, you and John Beal, the Jonathans are asking a lot of great questions. When someone had a bad experience with an SEO company, how would you overcome this? I love that question. So let me say this. If someone hasn't had a bad experience with an SEO company, I'd be surprised. But so there's ways that I handle this, and I'm glad we got this recorded because I've been wanting to let this out for a long time. So there's a question that's in here is, what if someone had a bad experience with insert whatever type of marketing that they did? So that could be SEO or anything. You want to approach it in a pretty simple way. When it's SEO, pretty much the way I do it is like, okay, great, you had a bad experience with an SEO company. The first thing I find out is how much money they spent. Like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, how much money did you spend with this company? Like, oh yeah, I gave them $300 one time and they didn't do anything for me. So
I
it's like,
can't
okay,
believe. I'm sorry, Eric. I gotta cut you off on this.
yeah,
I
cut me off.
can't believe. Oh my God. Like this is so freaking perfect because like I remember like learning SEO and I had all of these freaking questions. I had all of these questions. And you know, like Eric, how many demos did you run on Friday?
At least four. My brain was fried in the end.
He ran 4 demos, like so 4 sales conversations with prospects selling SEO just on Friday alone. The last couple of months, all he's been doing is selling SEO, getting every single objection in the book over and over and over again. And he's probably like, I mean, he's the best person that I've ever seen, like know how to sell SEO and go through a demo conversation. And I just think it's just so freaking perfect that like the second I hear you talk about like, well, yeah, the very first thing is you find out the pricing, because like at this point, it's just been completely systemized. Like I'm sure like it's just like you're just going through a script whenever you're
Yeah,
hearing
I feel
this.
it out. I do feel it out. I feel it out. And here's how I do it. The first thing is I hear the emotion behind that. So there's some people, and this is probably the most important thing besides even like the content of what you say, is if someone's like, I've had some terrible experiences with SEO. Like if you're selling Batman SEO, that's what he would say. That's how he'd say it. And so when they
You love
say
your
that,
accents.
like, yeah, like
Yeah. Nonstop.
how angry is this person that they've had some terrible experiences? Because that's what you really need to deal with, is the emotion first. But once that's dealt with, like, listen, I totally understand. Can you give me a little bit of an idea of, one, first of all, we talked about the money. What are they spending? Two, what did they promise you? Like what in terms of results, if anything? And then 3, what did they actually deliver? Like, did they actually show you how they were doing? So those are the like probably 3 big categories. So the first thing is when you talk about price point, if somebody spent like $300, like I paid this company $300, people don't understand that they're not getting SEO. I paid a guy to build me a website. He said he was going to do SEO. No way. Second one, I paid this guy who cold called me from India. He said he was going to do SEO for me for only $150 a month. No chance that he's doing something powerful like this. Just not possible. The people have tried all these things that either they're not really SEO, or or it's like fake, or it's like directory listings alone. All of these things. So you got to find out if that's the first thing. Second of all, you have if someone said they were spending thousands of dollars or $1,000 a month and they didn't get great results, then you want to find out. That's, first of all, it's excellent that they were willing to spend thousands of dollars, first of all. Second of all, is what that person did, because you have access to, what are the tools that Dan and Joe, that people?
It's the Fusion Command Center, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that up yet?
Yeah, you could analyze whatever their URL is and take a look at what that person actually did. So you can say, all right, well, it sounds like this guy promised you that he was going to do X, Y, and Z. And when I look at the back end here, I could actually see what it was that he did or didn't do. And what I could tell you from that is that that person was missing this top thing, which is he didn't build you any quality backlinks here. And when I look at what, he didn't do anything with your GMB. And then so when they see that, they're like, oh man, this guy scammed me, or this person did nothing. And when then that happens, like, listen, one of the most important things about what we do is every single month we're going to meet together, and I'm going to go over with you what we did and what the impact was. And I'm going to show you that these are the different needles that we're going to move in the rankings, dashboard, so to speak. So every single month, not only will you see the stuff that I'll show you, like, we climbed up here, went there. I'm going to be straightforward with you. And these are the things that actually will move the needle. And if there's things, I'm going to show you this every month. If things aren't moving, you should fire me. You don't see me doing these things, right? Like, you can say it like that. No one's going to ever look at it anyway. But realistically, it's just that they had no idea what SEO was when they made a purchase. They didn't know what the right expectations were, right? There's people that promised them things. I found that one of the top tools in terms of creating trust is by never saying that I'm going to promise anything. I will never promise somebody results. I will say I have gotten results for all of my clients, and I still can't guarantee you that you're going to get front page placement, only because I cannot control Google. So if anyone promises you, you're going to be number 1 on page 1, you should run away from them. But what I can promise you is that I am going to do everything humanly possible with the best technology, the best SOPs, with a team of people behind me that are the best in the industry. And I would bet my house that we're going to do an amazing job for you. I do say I'll bet my house all the time.
Dude, that's great. That's great, Eric. That's awesome. The other thing too is, like, inside the command center, and we're gonna have an extensive video on this next week, but there is a section where you can actually put the client's website in there, and it'll do a whole analysis and do a whole report and show them what's missing and everything else. So it's like when you're talking to them, you can have that already set up. But
yes,
let's bust through some of these questions, because we slated about an hour for this, and we're already about the 30-minute mark. So let's see. We got Jonathan Beal says, if the client doesn't know how to add me as an admin, do I need to hide or change my IP for Google My Business? One, Jonathan, we actually put a video in there. There should be a video in the members area that you can give to your client that actually shows them how to add you. But if they still can't figure it out and they give you their login, then the IP doesn't matter. You can just log in. You don't have to hide your IP. This is a question for Dan from Julie Curry. She says, I have been having problems uploading the import file to ClickUp. It turns it into a list rather than a folder? Any ideas?
Yeah, I know what she's talking about. I actually had a couple people ask this question to support desk, and I don't know if ClickUp is like in the process of changing their column names during the import. So it's the same import file will work. Just make sure that when you get to the step where you map the data, so in the video I show you how you just confirm in the drop-down box with what you're uploading versus what is matched. So there's a certain step, it's probably step 2, I believe, where it just says match the data. So if you see one that's not selected, just make sure you change that. It should be like the list name. I have a screenshot. I can. If you open a support ticket, I'm probably just going to cut and paste what I sent the last guy. But I just don't know if ClickUp is just changing their user interface so much right now. Again, this is a pretty new feature they came up with. So I'm going to bet, Julie, that it's based on the mapping of those fields. So when you get to that step, just make sure that all those fields have like a green check that shows that they're being mapped properly. If you skipped one, it would do what you just described, where it's just throwing all of that information inside of a list without the folder. So give that a shot, and if you still have an issue with it, just open that support ticket, and I'll take a look at what you're doing a little more personally.
Yep. I just want to say the questions are so awesome. They're asking great questions. We've had this 3 times, Joe. I'm just trying to bring it up so it doesn't get forgotten. What's the Facebook group situation?
We're not going to have a Facebook group at the moment. I talked to David about it. We're not. We don't have plans for a Facebook group right now. But we do have the support ticket. So if you do have a problem, you can put it in there. But also, we do have the OMG Way Facebook group, which is kind of our bigger Facebook group that you guys can join. That, as far as I know, that's where we're at with the Facebook group right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I know I had mentioned possibly using that, group if we ever did create it to help facilitate people helping each other with, Q&As on the Google My Business and stuff. So maybe if we can get a crowd sourced aspect within the Fusion group internally somehow, and that's something we'll just think through how to best do that. Then if we don't use it through through its own specific Facebook group.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk to David about that, and we could see what we could come up with here.
Okay.
Yeah, figure out a way that everyone kind of meet each other and everything else. All right, so I just want to get, man, we got a lot. We get so many questions here. Let's just knock a few of these out. I know it's kind of like this is the first webinar, so there's a lot of questions, and we're definitely gonna have more. We'll probably break it up where there'll be a few people, maybe Michael and Eric on one, me and Dan on another or something. So we could have like sales questions on one, and then fulfillment on another. We kind of have it all together right here.
Let's have them submit them in the future next time.
Yeah.
So we can organize them.
Yeah, we can do that. You can set up a way to do that. We can. Let's see. So here, let me just go through some of these. So Gary says, I have a client that delivers horses nationwide. What is the best process for setting up Google My Business proximity in different states? Should do it by creating subdirectories for their website or creating new website optimized for each state locally. I can build unlimited websites and hosting with no cost.
I think I see what he's saying. Well, I have my opinion on this.
Okay.
Based on if the domain has any authority and is a powerful domain, that's where you want to kind of structure everything off of. So I would build your Google My Businesses off of those pages. But it sounds like, just your willingness to just create new websites for each state, that domain may not be solidified with authority. So in that case, if you're kind of starting on level ground with all these domains, I would probably create a new one for each state, optimize the Google My Business listing that way. But if you're trying to build a powerful brand name off of one domain, then you might want to set it up right the first time and then just build all your Google My Businesses off of those inner pages. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, well, so we have another site that we've done for our other higher level program, precision mold removal. And we did really this, like if you type your name, mold removal in any major city, we're #1, right? San Diego, LA, Denver, Austin, San
Houston.
Antonio, yeah, Houston. But so what we did is like what Dan said, we built one, a domain that had a lot of authority, and then for each city, we just built a separate page. And what happens is over time, as you build the authority, your pages rank easier and easier. If you're building different websites, then the problem is you have to build the authority of each one of those websites, and you kind of start from scratch every time. As far as Google My Business goes, that's a hard one because Google's really cracking down that if you don't have a legit location there, they're closing, they're shutting down a lot of Google My Businesses. So that's kind of like a gray area, but you could definitely rank pages, for each city or state. And if you know someone in that area, you can have them deliver a card and possibly get a Google My Business also. And then guys, I'm just kind of going through these questions, but if any of you guys see a question that stands out to you that you want to answer, just
Okay.
shout it out. Okay, we did this bad experience.
Oh, someone asked a question about price point. There was actually 2 questions that were related to
Okay.
that. Should I go into that? So the first question that someone asked was, if I am selling into a niche that, like a plastic surgeon, or let's say a dentist, or like a growth hormone type doctor, which is like a really high ticket item, then can I change my price based on niche? So I don't want to get too much into that. The short story is you can charge as much as you want or as little as you want in theory. But what you want to keep in mind is the most important thing you can do in sales is get your foot in the door. And $1,000 for anything is a great place to start. Michael and I have learned this lesson the very, very tough way. I still gets me upset is that we tried to get, Joe, we learned this lesson too. I tried to get a guy in the door for $7,000, and then I was like, oh no, let's do $3,600. This guy, he wanted to work with us, he really did, and it wasn't even a price point. We were charging less than the other guys, but he's like, I only got about $3,600, so I could cancel. I should have said, yo, dude, why don't you give us $2,000? Let us show you what we can do in the next 6 months. It's going to be no brainer for you to upgrade. Huge mistake. I didn't do it. And he went with some other company because someone else took over the whole process. What I would do now is I'm like, get your foot in the door. Let's go. Let's roll with this deal. Let's get it going. Give me the money. And so once you do, that's all you want to focus on. Once you have that like energetic line, AKA credit card in your Stripe or whatever, between you and the prospect, your relationship is cemented and it's solidified. So that's the answer to the first question. And then when it comes to niches, like, let's talk about that when you're a little bit further down the niche pathway. But the other question was, is the price point of $595 and $999, it seems like it could be pretty low. And have you ever had the experience of people undervaluing your service because the price point is lower? And I think that's an excellent question. And I would say, yeah, for some people, yeah. For some people, when I say you should spend, $14.95, they're like, oh my God. The other day, though, I was, I was gonna pitch this guy $14.95, and he was like, some other company wanted us to spend $10,700. And we were about to do it. I'm like, oh my God. Like, everyone's got a different perception of what the right price point is. You must understand that, even in the same industry. So what you kind of want to be focusing on is the price point that you're happy with delivering. And if someone undervalues that, no problem, not a problem at all. It's going to happen a lot less than them being really happy with you having it at a lower price point and then moving up on the totem pole, with Traffic Tsunami and knowing how to deliver like a $3,000 service, and then, a sales machine knowing how to have that kind of sales conversation where you can open the door with $3,000 or what have you. So long answer short is I had somebody buy last week for, I walked him down a little bit from $1,500 to was it
$12.95, I think, or
12.95. $12.95 was $12.95. And when I lowered the price by $200, the guy was like, "Oh, whew, thank God!" Like for him, that was a big deal. But he's like, if you were going to ask me what my comfort zone was, if you pitched me $3.99, I would have said yes in a second. So most people don't have that mindset. The mindset that they have is like, if you bring the value in the conversation, then they'll be happy with whatever the price is. If you sound like smart and you're delivering good stuff and that you're confident and then you're developing a good rapport with them, they're going to believe that you're offering a great service no matter what the price point is. And
hey, Eric, here's another question a guy had about Bruce. Bruce has, I think it was Bruce. Oh no, Phil. Sorry.
Okay.
He was looking at buying SEO leads from a company.
Michael did that.
Did you do that, Michael? What's your
Yeah.
experience with that?
Well, that was actually the lead, and that's when I started working with Eric. Years ago, I worked with a company called, I think it's like Web Leads Inc. And they're a good company. I think you can buy a lead for them for $25. And what a lead basically is, I mean, I could be right or wrong about that. It's going to be like in that price. It's going to be in that ballpark. And essentially what you get for $25 is somebody who has responded positively to a cold email campaign. So they're just out there just blasting away to small businesses saying like, hey, would you like me, or would you like one of our consultants to help you with getting more traffic to your site, getting more business, business for your site. And so if you buy those leads, you then need to contact that person. You need to have some sort of a sales process. You need to set a demo, collect the money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can definitely do that. But what I found is that's when I needed the help of like a real professional. That's actually when I got started, like really, going through cold call scripts and like really diving deep into developing a sales process, which is actually exactly what is covered in Sales Machine.
Yeah. So that answered that question about like buying those leads, Michael. I'd probably say like you could buy any leads that you want. You could, but then all of a sudden there's like this pressure on you in a good way, right? That for you to convert on those or else you've spent
Call them
money and
immediately
then
also.
yeah, well there's the immediacy. But the leads that are available to you that are the highest probability of closing are people really that you already know or have some sort of connection with. So
Without
you
a
don't have
doubt.
to, yeah, like for me, like I came into the industry being and like from an artist. In my mind, I had no professional connections. That's because I just didn't get freaking curious enough with anyone in my life. I didn't ask any questions. I didn't know what questions to ask, and I didn't understand how to have the conversation. But what's in Fusion when it comes to sales is exactly that. It's how to answer those kinds of questions. It's how to start those kinds of conversations. I mean, the worst thing that can happen to you is that you feel stupid. But the best thing that can happen to you is that you make $1,000 a month every month, like indefinitely. So just kind of like think about it. Weigh it in one hand. Oh, I might feel stupid, like the possibility of feeling stupid, or $1,000 a month. It really is that simple.
Yeah. When I bought those leads, I think I worked them by myself for either a month or two before I wound up hooking up with Eric. And essentially, I spent like $1,500 a month, I think, on the leads. And I just spent about an hour a day calling the leads. So like every day I'd get like 10 or 15 more, and I would just call them up every single day when they came in at like 10 a.m. I remember. And after like the first month, I had one client, and then after the second month, I'd gotten a second client from it. But this was also after I had, I'd been selling SEO for over a year at that point, so I knew a little bit about like how to do it. If you're a complete newbie, I wouldn't recommend
Buying
going that
leads.
route. Yeah.
Yep. You just brought me to this last thing. I think you were about to talk, Joe. The last thing I'll say about this is I can almost feel it in some of the questions people have been asking is like, I'm gonna talk to this person when I feel like I've got enough confidence or when I've got enough experience. Like the thing I tell all of our SDRs or all of our appointment setters and salespeople is like, please don't hold anything back. I want you to make all your mistakes that you could possibly make. Like you've got to be willing to make mistakes right away. Because if you don't make those mistakes, then you don't learn something. Now, you don't like change your process because one person said one thing. If I changed everything I did based off of one person, I would be like changing everything I did every day. But what you guys want to make sure that you do is that you just go in there and do your best. Record your conversations if you can. Go in there and fuck it up, frankly. Like that is going to be your best way to learn, because if you don't make mistakes, just like I was saying with the $7,000 deal, if you don't make mistakes like that, you're never going to understand how it is that you can tighten up your process if you never have one.
No, that's great. All right, but we have to get going. We haven't
Joe,
even
keep us on track, Joe.
we got so many questions. We gotta start going here. So I'm gonna rapid fire
one here from Paco. I got one from Paco. I'll answer. He's asking about ranking in maps, and he mentions he didn't go through the training yet. So Paco, go through the training. And I'm saying that because we literally just have a group message between us where we're talking about someone who messaged us on Facebook saying that he couldn't get in the map pack for 2 years. This is an OMG member. He's been in OMG for a while. And he said he implemented this stuff from Fusion Protocol, and he's in number 3 in maps in like less than a week. So go through that training, and after that, then we can talk and start, looking and analyzing if there are issues after that. But certainly go that route first.
All right, and then Dan, also someone asked here about the chat setup and AMP. They said, seems like AMP setup puts us at a loss at $595 a client for the first month.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about that. And I even mentioned this in the video, I believe, that AMP it's a huge asset to you, but I understand at the $595 level, it's, you're pretty much breaking even or even maybe losing money on month 1 if you're giving them so much other stuff with blog outreach and all this stuff, other things. So you can defer AMP to the next month to kind of spread your budget. It's a double-edged sword though, because AMP is going to help you get results that much faster and help, that client see results and obviously be happier. But with that being said, if the budget is tight, you have to make the tough calls, then I would say save AMP for month 2, do everything else in month 1, set them up technically right, and get all their on-page correct. And then month 2, you can put that budget towards the AMP setup. Obviously, the $995 plan, you can throw a lot of that in month 1 right off the bat, and that's obviously preferred. But at $595, you can either go all in, like we go all in, because we know that the client's going to stick around. We know our attrition is infinitesimal, and if it does ever so happen that we lose a client after month 1 because they just didn't have the patience, or they really just had a budget for 1 month and didn't tell us, then so be it. We'll eat that month. But I understand those risks are not something you guys might want to take right away, so you can push that off to month 2 and it'll be fine. It'll be okay. Just set the expectations from the beginning that nothing is instant results. They're looking at 3 months, 4 months. These are the time frames of starting to see the results compounded in terms of rankings and traffic.
Yeah, and then as far as like doing AMP yourself, I don't recommend it. Like we're not gonna have training like showing you how to do AMP because we don't do it ourselves. That's like me showing you how to design a website.
Yeah, we've done it, but it breaks so much because Google's always changing stuff, and it's this dance between your AMP website and looking in Google Search Console and making sure that they're talking together properly, and you can check if you're losing AMP index pages in Search Console, and if that happens, the developer can go in and fix that, right? So that kind of stuff happens, more frequently than we'd like, but it is what it is. We all just work for Google at the end of the day here.
It's true,
yeah.
actually.
And one of the things about Fusion is the whole purpose of it is for a lot of people to get their agency set up. And someone was asking, like like I've seen a few of these questions also where they're like, hey, I haven't gone through the training, but so go through the training, right? That's going to answer a lot of stuff for you.
Mhm.
But even we have the agency set up where we just uploaded, David just uploaded some themes and a video where you can go in and basically have your agency website set up probably within 30 to 60 minutes. Everything you need to get your agency set up, and then go and get and be able to Fusion's designed so you can go and get your first few clients and then deliver the results for them very easily through basically, doing the Google My Business yourself, but outsourcing the AMP and the links and the other stuff. Yeah. All right. So let's see. I'm just looking through questions here. If you guys have any that you see, just pull them out.
I see one, and I could answer this one very quickly, Joe. Dave Sutherland asks, how are you framing the results conversation when it's a 3 to 6 month wait? Great question. I frame the results conversation as expect to get nothing for 6 months. Now, I do that because sometimes at a higher price point, I don't want people to buy who are going to be like knocking on my door every 5 minutes waiting for results. We want people to buy our businesses, people to buy who can afford to pay $1,500 or $1,000 or even $600 for 6 months without getting any return. So that being said, I say, if I were to frame this like Dan was saying, 3 or 4 months, I'd say, hey, listen, I never give anyone an expectation that they're going to get results before month 6. That being said, the majority of my clients are getting results within 3 to 4 months. I just don't want to set that expectation because I'd rather have under promise and over deliver. Boom, write that down. That's the script.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so and then also Julie asks, I noticed you have an address on the agency site. Is that a real address? As when you did the Google My Business, you checked that you didn't have people come to your business. I don't want my address to be public, but that would seem a negative impact possibly in the maps. Julie, I always put an address on my website if I want to rank in the maps. We do it on Google. We do it on a precision mold removal site. Every page has an address, whether it's we actually reside there or not. It does have an address. On my agency site, it does have an address. And what Google My Business is going to do, even though you hide the address in the Google My Business, it is going to go and look at your site, and it is going to make sure everything matches. It's going to make sure that your phone number matches, your title, like if you say your business is precision mold removal, then when they go to your site, you should have that as the name of your business, and on your logo, your phone number should match and your address should match. But the address you can put even in the bottom corner of your website. But I definitely would suggest having an address on there. If you don't want to have it on, does that mean you're not going to rank in the maps? No, it doesn't. It's just like if you think of the algorithm as a bunch of signals, that's just one of the signals that you want to hit, but it is a pretty big one.
People asked the question about what is Traffic Tsunami, and then someone said, when does Traffic Tsunami open? Can we get some feedback on that, Joe?
So Traffic Tsunami is just like, so if Fusion is the, it's kind of like for people to just get their first clients and their agency set up and to kind of get up and moving, Traffic Tsunami takes it to a whole nother level. That's where we really go deep into SEO, into ranking for national sites, getting clients that are $7,000 to $10,000 a month, how you get those clients, how you service those clients, how we do YouTube for clients. So it's how to really just grow and expand your agency on the one, and that's one part of it. The other part of Traffic Tsunami is affiliate marketing, using SEO to build affiliate sites and make money doing that. But it's going to have a lot more of our SOPs, our outsourcer training, our team building training, I know Dan has a lot where he's going to go really deep into Google ads, Facebook ads, bots, and everything else, funnels.
Jeez, are you
You know,
serious, dude? No, I'm not joking. Like, this is absolutely outrageous. But
It's
I want
happening.
to just put one more side spin. I mean that it's not a the side take is as a foil to that, Joe,
mm,
is if Michael and I only had access to Fusion for our
mm,
clients, uh, we would do a great job. And like if all we could do was just the stuff that's in Fusion protocols, we'd still charge at least $1,500 a client, and we would do the exact same thing, and they wouldn't be missing a single freaking thing. So I just want to kind of put that out there too, is that like it's almost helped us see that we could just do the stuff in Fusion protocol and we charge the same price and nobody would be losing any value. Michael, can you confirm that and make sure I'm not crazy there?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And two, is along those lines, Eric, the way, like I was talking about before with Fusion Protocol, that's why we have so many different softwares that are in it right now are going to be in it, like with the command center, like that covers all your bases, right? And then we have something else that Greg has developed with Kosta that's coming in for linking that we've never had before, but where it's almost like a plug and play. So it's basically designed so you get your clients and then you fulfill on your clients, and everything you need to do that. Whereas the other stuff like Traffic Tsunami just goes way deeper. It's kind of like here's the cake, and here's how you put it together. Traffic Tsunami's like, here's how you design your own cake. Here's how you whatever. Like just a lot more. I don't know if that analogy
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense, but
Well, Shoban asked the question, which maybe this will help guide that answer a little bit more, even further, is that Michael gave an example in the Fusion webinar of a client that bought the 595 price point, but then upgraded pretty quickly to 35 Hondo.
Yep.
So how specifically do you determine the more you can do for a client and for what price point beyond the fixed starter packages? If I'll just answer that very simply by saying this, is that the price that you charge is arbitrary, meaning you're going to do an amazing job. The person is paying for results of what you say you're going to do. And so if you want to charge, 35 and that person's going to say yes and do it, then that's fair. You guys create that. So don't think that the product is worth 595 flat and that's like a hard and fixed rate or 1,000. You can get them more, buy them more links and all that kind of stuff for more money. But it's really up to, if they say, I'm going to spend this much money, then you can come up with a protocol. And I'm sure you touch on this in Traffic Tsunami, Joe. I'm going to let you take it from there about how it is that you go about pricing it and how about you go about thinking what you can deliver for the higher price point.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's what is in there is that's the exact thing where, when you're offering a client like, more stuff like Facebook ads, Google ads, chatbot, like a lot, YouTube ads, like YouTube marketing and YouTube optimization, and you start offering these bigger services, yeah, we go through how you offer it to them, how you fulfill on it, where you go to outsource some of the things that you need to fulfill on it. So it's like basically growing your agency into like a $100,000 a month minimum agency, like growing a real huge agency and business. And that's part of Traffic Tsunami. But again, in Fusion, you could build your agency pretty big and you can be 10, 20, 30,000 a month with Fusion alone, with what's in here. And what we're showing you is just.
Yeah, you could be perfectly content with Fusion protocol as a standalone, but if you just get super hungry for more, then you can start trying to take on the bigger clients who are going to expect more for 3,000 plus a month.
Yeah, I'm so hungry, Dan, actually. Like,
I can tell you hungry. I know Eric's hungry.
You are hungry, Eric. but the other thing too is the beauty is like in Fusion, if you stack 3, 4, 5, 6 clients at say $997 a month, and then you upgrade to Traffic Tsunami, then you could just, those same clients, they could become $2,000 clients, $3,000 clients, Or if you just want to keep and just do SEO clients, you just stay in Fusion and do that. So there's a lot of different options.
Get them in the door. Get them in the door. Get them in the
Yes,
door.
that's the name of the game. Get them to pay once, and they'll pay a lot easier every other time after that.
But you have to have your agency site set up, and you have to have an agency, and you have to be going out there and talking to people, or none of it matters, right? So it's like you have to get your first person, try to get them in the door.
Let me jump on this question, Joe. Danny asked, all right, he's going through the training on Google My Business. He's asking about the images and the strategy behind, adding all the titles and the alt tags and the exit data and the commercial use rates of the images. So here's the thing with this. Google doesn't do a great job of labeling their images for, labeled for reuse, I think is the one they use. There are a lot of images that you could use that are not labeled like that. So my official answer is yes, you should use ones that are labeled for reuse. However, if you're not seeing enough images, you can do what I did and just go, wide open on the filter, have your VA or yourself go through, make sure there's no brands in there, make sure there's no faces of anyone in particular. They should be pretty sterile type of images. You're not going to get in trouble for that, and especially with all the modifications we're doing to the images anyway. Priority number one really should be trying to get images from the business itself. That would be, the best option. So when you onboard them, you can get, ask them for their images. It's, part of the onboarding sheet where we try to get a shared folder they can provide for us with images and whatnot. But if they don't have that stuff or they just are taking too long to get it, you can do what I did. And we do this for, for many of the clients that we have because one, they're either too lazy to give us images or they don't have enough. And we will try to use ones that are clearly labeled for use, but again, I never stress over just going wide open on the filter and grabbing other images. That's my personal opinion on it, and it does work.
And if Dan doesn't stress, I do not stress.
It is. It's good.
Here's a question by Shelly R. Shelly, I think you're an OMG. I can't see your face.
Oh, she is. Shelly, you have
Yeah,
an
she is.
excellent you have an excellent caps lock usage.
Yes. Yeah, she wants to get her point across. She says she knows how to set up a website and everything. She said, I'm wondering, how do I get an email list? Not only my website, but also landing pages, Facebook fan pages, Facebook groups, etc. How do I help clients build a list too? We don't really cover that in Fusion. I don't think like how to build an email list for your clients.
No, that was something I was considering possibly putting in Tsunami, is offering email marketing as an agency would. I mean, there are agencies that are built strictly on just offering email marketing. So that might be another weapon that, another tool we can add to that.
Yeah, that's a traffic tsunami, because I think, Dan, like that's what we were talking about, the whole retargeting and the follow-up system and everything else. Like that would definitely be in traffic tsunami. That's a little more advanced than we have in Fusion.
Yeah, in the chatbot section of setting this up for clients, we do show how to capture email addresses for the client's prospective customers, just to have it and saved in the CRM. But we never talked through the next step of that, which would be potentially emailing them down the line if we wanted to, on behalf of our clients, right? But that would again go into email marketing, which is outside the scope of Fusion Protocol, but will probably most certainly be in Traffic Tsunami.
And then Shelly, you can hop on one of my webinars and we could talk more about it in a couple of weeks, because you're still in OMG. So I'm not doing webinars for OMG for a couple of weeks, but after the holidays in December, I will be, and we can kind of talk about that too on there. Okay. Oh, Dave Sutherland says, by the way, my Google My Business for my SEO agency has skyrocketed in maps since doing just the images. That's pretty cool. Up 4 from nowhere.
Cool. It's the little things that matter in there. So people try to do too much, but simple works.
Right. All right, let's see. All right, it says here, Michael gave an example on Fusion webinar of a client he initially
Yeah, we
sold it.
answered this one.
Oh,
Yeah, this is
yeah.
the one we covered. Yeah.
All right, that sounds familiar. Right. I think we might have hit all the questions, unless you guys see something we haven't seen.
If you asked a question and it hasn't been answered, now's the time to double dip.
Yeah, we kind of skipped around a little bit. So if we missed yours, pop it in now, and then I'll see. I like your idea, Eric, of maybe having people submit. I did that a couple of years ago. Maybe we could think of a system that they could kind of submit their questions ahead of time, and that way, even if they can't attend live, they get it answered. So we'll see if we can come up with something like that. The website theme, I think David added it already, or if he didn't add it, he'll be adding it any day now. So it'll be in there. You'll just keep an eye out for it, and he'll probably put a notification up saying that he had added it.
Someone asked a question about sales. Just Sibby Francis. Is there a right way to get leads, clients from other countries where I have less to no clients currently? So someone asked this question, is there a right way? So yeah, I'm sorry, no, the answer is I don't think there's ever a right way, but there is an effective way, and there could be ineffective ways and varying levels of effectiveness to get leads from other countries. So unless you're using your own personal network, I'm going to assume that most of your network is in your country or nearby, or maybe in another country which you're connected with. But there's no right or wrong way to get leads from any country or anything like that. There's tons of different list building apps and websites and stuff like that out there. The only thing that would stop you from calling those countries is that you might not have an area code or a phone number, and then there's all these VoIP phone services that allow you to have local area codes. So there is no wrong way to sell Arises, or there's no wrong way to really make a deal there. So just make sure. One thing that's very helpful is that you're calling from the same country. So as a +1 person, if I'm calling Canada, that's fine because it's the same, same country code. Same country code is really important. You don't have to go same area code within the country. I think that's overkill. All of our salespeople and use an area code that is local, and they don't change it every time. So maybe that helps answer your questions there.
All right. Let's see. Someone asked, should we consider PBNs to rank client sites? Yeah, I mean, if you have PBNs, and you know how to build them, definitely.
Yeah, Joe, for that one, I would just say make sure you know what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg.
Oh,
Hi,
Greg.
Yeah, I've been here, sorry.
In.
No SEO questions.
Where's that?
Yeah, he heard PBN and he's like, a PBN.
You just make sure you know what you're doing.
It's like, this is.
Look,
It's a
guys,
signal.
for most client sites, you don't need PBNs. I mean, unless you're dealing with like large city lawyer, even like large city plumbers and stuff, you can mix them in. They can really do a lot. But a lot of client work, you don't even need to worry about PBNs.
Greg, do you want to talk a little bit about the software and the difference? Because that's going to be great for the Fusion people, where it's like they don't have to worry about PBNs. They have to worry really about doing.
Yeah. So I mean, Kosta and I, we've been working together for 2 years now, and he's been designing this service like around exactly how I want my links done. So basically, what you guys are going to go be able to do is just go in, put your order in, kind of tell him like what type of keywords you're trying to rank for, and he goes out and builds the links for you. Of course, you pay for them. A lot of people call it guest posting, but there's a lot of things that really separate Kosta from everyone else. And we did a webinar we shot, and I think we're going to reshoot it. But you guys will see like the difference, and I think you guys will be really excited. It's crazy what he's done and what you guys are getting for. To be honest with you, at $9.99, this alone, like I didn't even want people to have access to this until Traffic Tsunami level, like till the next level. And that's how powerful it is. But we decided to let everyone in Fusion access this. So.
Yeah, dude, Greg, understatement of a lifetime. I watched the whole thing, the interview with you and Kosta, and I was just like, holy crap. It's impossible that there's another company that's getting links with like this. It's just not, I just can't, it is impossible. There's no
Yeah.
analogy.
Along those lines, I got a text from Mike Long saying hi to all the Fusion members. It says, say hi to Fusion members for me and tell them we've got some exciting news for Thanksgiving week and especially on Black Friday. And I think that has a little bit to do with what Greg was talking about just now.
I mean, just to kind of like put the proof behind the pudding. So I've ordered 6 figures in links with Kosta in those 2 years, and he's like my secret weapon for my big affiliate sites I'm working on. And I have one site, it's like 8 months old. It's already making like 2-3 grand a month. By the time it's a year and a half old, I plan to be making like 4 or 5 grand a day from it. And Kosta's service is really like the main thing that's powering this. So this isn't like any smoke. Like this is what I'm really using. So it was hard for me to release this, but at the same time, you know, I wouldn't be here without the members we got here. So this is, we're giving back here. This is a big tool, probably the biggest SEO tool I've ever used.
Wow.
Oh, Joe, it looks like your computer is running out of battery. Thank you very much, Dave.
Oh yeah, you gotta go plug this in. Yeah, we could go get along here. Yeah, I'll go get my. I didn't even notice that. Actually, I'm gonna go get a plug for this. You guys just plug away at some more of these questions.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. There's.
I was just going to answer this guy Adam real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Adam, sir. So he's asking about, and someone else asked this as well, using a different form other than Typeform to bring in the onboarding information. So yeah, you can use anything that you want. Google Forms is in Zapier, so essentially whatever you want to use would be the trigger. In my video, I teach Typeform, but that could very easily be Google Forms. It could be WordPress, right? Anything that's going to store those field values will then be passed into the action, which would be ClickUp in the case of my video. So don't get hung up on the specific tools I teach. If you have something you actually like to use, you could do that. I'm just showing you what I personally use and like. All right.
Somebody asked a question about gatekeepers. Oh my God. All right, well, so the answer to that question is there's already an implication if you're speaking with like lots of gatekeepers that you're trying to create a sales machine, and that's a whole animal in of itself. Like I have all the training for my salespeople that's in Sales Machine, and I train them more and I add more to Sales Machine. Like this gatekeeper thing is, I mean, short answer, it's about confidence, and it's about knowing what you're going to say before you say it, and it's about being very direct and getting straight to the point. But that's if you're cold calling. The thing that you want to remember around gatekeepers is if you have some sort of connection with that person, friends, family member, friend of a friend, whatever it is, you might have to deal with gatekeepers still, but probably not because you'll have the cell phone. But in that case, the one you want to just say is, if Joe's gatekeeper, Joe, let's pretend like Danielle is your gatekeeper, right? And I call and I want to speak to you. And the first thing I'm going to say is, Danielle's going to pick up the phone and she's going to say, Joe's SEO Palace. And I'll say, hi, yes, Joe, please. And it's just like, I need to get to Joe. That's my first step. Imagine I've got like a battering ram that I'm going to like bang down the door. That's the first bang that I make. The second one, oh, may I ask who's calling? Yeah, just tell him it's Eric Brief. Thanks. That's my second like battering ram. And then the third one is like, yeah, Joe told me to give him a call, or I'm supposed to give him a call today at this time. I'll hold. Boom. That's your third one. The door is going to break down at that point. Trust me, you're not going to get hung up on a gatekeeper. Buy a gatekeeper if you have some sort of connection with that person. Now, disclaimer, if you do not know who that person is, you cannot say that you know them or they're expecting your call. That is a sure way to have a gatekeeper never talk to you again. But you could act like they're expecting your call. You can't say those words.
I like it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and if that wasn't enough for you, within Sales Machine, there's probably about 3 hours worth of gatekeeper specific training alone. I think we spent a few webinars going over that topic, on top of the core training materials of exactly how to blast through those gatekeepers.
We just put in 30 minutes this week too, man.
We added another 30.
Yeah. I'm from Monday's training.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dude, I love the gatekeeper because it's like, it's a hard thing if you're not prepared for it, but even the solutions you just gave are so simple, but they definitely will work. So
They
I
do
think
work,
that's
yeah,
one,
man.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
if you call Danielle and you said that, like, even if she didn't know who it was and you made like you knew me, at the very least she's gonna be like, hey, there's a guy on the phone. He says he's expecting your call, and I'm probably gonna be like, all right, let me just take it. Who is this guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if I didn't even know who you were, like, the odds of me taking it is pretty high, just because I'm like, well, maybe I did have a call with them. I don't,
That's exactly it, though, Joe. What you just said, I might as well just go into this one thing. That's the gatekeeper. They're afraid of two things. They don't want. They're afraid of getting it wrong. They're afraid of passing through the wrong person or holding back the right person. So if you're the
Right.
right person, you're going to play on that fear of them not passing you through, and that's what's tugging on Danielle, and that's what's tugging on Joe picking up your call.
Right. And that's and two is, and Eric, you have such a confidence too about you when you call. Like if you call and I think if you're stuttering, I don't know, right? But if you call with utmost confidence and it's like, hey, he's picking my call, like, and I think it puts the other person in a mode where, like, oh, this must be serious. This guy must really need to talk to, my boss must know him or something else. The way you present yourself, I think, is a big deal also in the way you speak.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I wasn't born with confidence. I've rehearsed to get to confidence.
Yeah. All right. All right. So let's see. Um, let's see what else we got here. A lot of people were worried about my laptop, which we got that plugged in.
And Joe, someone asked a question about Typeform. Is it awesome? What do you think?
Oh,
Just
it's
messing with you.
Yeah, Joe, what do you think?
A type form? Why? I don't
He
know.
loves it.
I loved it. It's awesome. Oh, type form is awesome, says Jonathan. Oh, I like
Yeah.
type form. It's okay.
Andre says, should our focus be on trying to rank our own agency to the top of Google? I would say once you have a couple clients and you got some extra time on your hands, go ahead. So first of all, this is a good, and I'm just going to answer this question because it's definitely great to have your agency ranking at the top of Google. Like, you will get phone calls. You could potentially build an agency over the course of a very long period of time, a great agency, just by doing that. But I'll tell you this.
Dan, isn't that what you've done?
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially.
but other side is this. Michael, you had that for a while, and that's how you got you got off the ground. But if you had me, no offense, before that, you probably wouldn't have spent all the time doing that. If you have time on your hands, like, please do it. But I think the real thing to answer is this, is that I have people that get on the phone with me. There was this total jerk from Long Island. He was like, yeah, plug your site into OMG Command Center. Let me see how you're ranking over there.
Does that offend
And
you, Joe? Because you're
that
from
was
Long
me.
Island.
That was me.
Yeah. Joe is not this. Not only was his voice like that, but like if there was like a confrontational meter, he'd be like like the most confrontational voice I've ever heard. He's like, "Let me see your website. How is it ranking?" And so I put in Michael. So I put in your old agency, which has some really good rankings. And then he's like, "No, but let me see the one you're on right now." So I'm like, listen, stop telling me what to do. Would you rather see rankings I'm getting for myself or for your agency? Anyway, the point was that I plugged it in and it was like totally off. It didn't have anything good on there. He's like, "Why aren't you ranking better?" And I told him, I said, "Listen, man, we used to have our agency ranking on the front page. And I tell you, it really wasn't worth the effort. It wasn't. We got some calls coming in here and there, but we're focused exclusively on X, Y, and Z niche, and we found that I'd rather put our energy into ranking our clients at a high rate. Boom.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I think
A flip side of that, as far as ranking your own site, I would say that with the tools that you're going to have in Fusion, especially with the software Greg put in, which is like, I can't believe we're putting it in there, is I can't, I still like the same thing, Grayson. Like I can't believe you guys, like what you guys are getting in Fusion is like that alone is worth more than the price. And we've been doing OMG. You know, if you guys don't know what that is, it's a high level SEO training for the past 5-6 years. And we haven't had this software, like it's a game changer software for sure that he has in there. But what I would say is this is I want everyone here to be taking action, right? I don't want you to be just watching videos and waiting to get a client. Like the whole purpose of this whole walkthrough and the fulfillment is that you build your own SEO site, you do your own Google My Business, you do everything in that fulfillment section once for yourself so that when you get a client, it's not the first time you're doing it. Like, do you need to be ranked #1 on Google? No, you don't, but you need to know the steps so that when you get a client, you can fulfill it. And in OMG, over the last 5-6 years, we have found the people that generally have the fastest and most success are the people who take action and do something, right? They don't wait. They put their website together, they get that up, they go through their, you know, they go through the steps they need to do. They start talking to everyone they can, you know, about SEO, and like the one guy who talked to the guy who does snow tires and all the other stuff. Like, you start just taking action and moving forward, but don't wait to be like #1 in Google. Like, oh, I got to be #1 in Google, and then I got to get some clients. It's like you don't have to be #1 in Google. Like, you do probably should have a website, but it doesn't have to be #1.
Yep.
So,
Danny is asking about an article he read related to web page speed. The plugin I can see right now is Lazy Load plugin. It's an image-based plugin. So he's asking, he's used it on 2 sites and it's helped speed it up. What do I think of it? So it's a good plugin. I've used it before. Essentially what it does is it doesn't load the images until you start scrolling closer to them. And it does help on load speed. But I will say this, that if you are going to get the AMP package that the developer provides, I would avoid adding all these extra little plugins, because a lot of what he's going to do is it will encompass that already. So you may actually, you know, be kind of stepping on the toes of what he's doing by implementing these other things. So, you know, with what he's doing, he's been doing this full time for like 2.5 years. Like, this guy lives and breathes AMP and web page speed. He's taken sites from, you know, a 20 on the Google page insights to 99 plus. You know, I've seen him at hit, you know, 100 on some of our client sites, right? So he's a genius for that stuff. And trying to piecemeal plug in here, plug in there, it's actually going to add more bloat to the website and slow it down in the long run, where you can just kind of streamline that process with this guy. Now, if you're trying to, again, go really low budget in terms of deliverability, that's up to you. You can use some of these plugins. So Lazy Load is a good plugin, but would I use it in conjunction with the AMP plugin as well as everything else that the developer is implementing? No, I would not. Okay.
all right.
It's done, by the way. I think we're really
All right, I
done.
think.
Someone asked a question about Sales Machine. When will you hear
We can't
about
hear you,
Sales
Eric. You
Oh, your
gotta
mic-
put the
oh,
mic
yeah.
a little bit
Oh,
down.
Yeah, sorry. Someone asked a question, when do we hear more about Sales Machine? Well, everything that you've heard about sales in here just now, you've had a grain of sand of the beach of Sales Machine. So there's just ton more. You know, these are the stuff that you need to know to make sales will only be revealed to you once you start the process of making sales. So you kind of just, it's like Indiana Jones, right? Like that movie, that point when he like supposed to take the step when he doesn't see the step to cross that thing, the invisible step. Like this is the analogy for your agency when it comes to fulfillment, when it comes to sales, when it comes to both of those things. Like, you got to, getting a client is like taking a step into that gap where you cannot see that there's going to be a place to put your foot. You've got to be willing to not see the next step to take the step. So that's, you know, so yes, when we'll hear more about Sales Machine, I don't
January.
know. We're going to be talking about it. January. Great answer, Michael. We could have just said that.
Indiana Jones, though.
Done.
I love that. Come on.
No,
I
I
like
think
your
you're right.
answer,
You're
Eric. I
right.
like your answer. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Will Dan be sharing more SOPs in Tsunami? Yes.
No,
Will be.
that's a lot of work. Yeah,
Well,
no.
no. Actually, we have another software in Tsunami that's just all around SOPs, and it's where you'll be able to actually get a link and just download SOPs and sharing and stuff like that. So that's more. We're gonna have a full like outsourcer section in there that's really in depth.
But any sections that, I'm teaching, whether it's AdWords or, Facebook ads or email marketing, there will be a systematic step-by-step approach that you can follow and implement, similar to what you're doing right now.
Yeah. All right. So, it's too bad I'm off to Cuba next week. They are not
Cuba.
known for their internet service. So looking forward to get back when you get back. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think the next week's going to be kind of, it's a holiday week. So it's kind of a short week. So I think
No, don't believe that when it comes to sales. Oh my God, no. See, we have a script that we've given our appointment setters, which pretty much the purpose of the
Just
script is to
tell them the
incent
story. Tell them the story, Eric, about what happened in in
the
that
New
December,
Year's.
that like Christmas,
Oh
New
yeah,
Year's week.
yeah. So just okay. Long story short is never believe that it's a bad week to sell. There's never a bad week to sell. That's the first thing. But what happened is that my office, when I worked at this large agency, it was never closed. So it was open on New Year's Eve, and it was open on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And so I always like to come to work because I wake up every morning wanting to talk to people and sell. That's just the truth. So on December 31st, I came to work and I was having a pretty crappy December. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Like I'm here, I'm going to work hard. And I ended up just like calling everyone, like new leads and old leads and people that hadn't picked up before. And I closed 3 deals in one day on December 31st. And I was just relentless. And what was crazy, all these people I hadn't gotten in touch with were picking up their phone and
Wait,
would just go,
pause.
yeah,
3 deals
one
in
day, yeah,
on one day on New Year's Eve.
yep. It was crazy, and I felt really great about it. But I think what it was just to realize is think about it. If you're calling a business and it's New Year's Eve, all their employees are taking off work, which means the person who owns the business is taking the calls. So the number one thing that you can do is to get people on the phone. And we incentivize people to get on the phone by saying, hey, if you run a demo with us before X, Y, and Z date, then I'm going to give you $1,000 off. Or I'm going to get, oh, you don't say what it is. You say, I'm going to get, there's a huge bonus where you can save up to $1,000 should you decide that you want to partner with us. Boom, script, write it out right there. And then that has people like, oh, okay, I'll sit down with you right now then. Because it's a perceived time that you can't get a lot done, but it is.
Yeah, if you guys are like listening to this and just, I remember my very first experiences, working with Eric, and I kind of felt like I couldn't like write down what he was saying fast enough. Like I knew that it was all really valuable, and I was just trying to like jot it down really fast. And what I've learned over the years is that the well goes so freaking deep. It's actually unbelievable about how much further down you can actually learn about sales. And so like this is just like a little piece.
It is. I'm learning every day. I'm not afraid to say that, like every single day.
Well, you're one of the best sales guys I know. And both you and Michael have some amazing sales techniques. And I know they work because I've seen them work.
Thanks. Yeah, Joe, who's better? Tell me right now. I'm gonna call him up.
Michael's way better.
Yeah.
No, not between me and Michael. Who's the other guy? You said one of.
The other guy, he's a douchebag. He's terrible.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent. So I'm the best non-douchebag salesperson you know.
Wait,
That's right.
it's a tight race.
Tight race.
All right.
D-Bag, Michael Tesaluna, and Eric Brief.
Well, just to be fair, I came all the way to my office in here in Buenos Aires just because I rented an office. I came all the way here just to do this, and now that I'm at my desk, I'm thinking I should sleep here tonight. Why go home? I can get an extra early start on calling people.
Yeah.
Good. No, in all seriousness, there are guys that have claimed to be really good at sales, especially with local and agencies, that I've worked with, that I've seen, and they always come up really short, or they have the same shtick, like, go do this. But what I really like about you, Michael, is that you have actual scripts. You actually do it, and like, you don't just do it where you're like, okay, I'm gonna just follow this one system, and and even if it doesn't work, you just keep following. No, you tweak it, and you're looking at like, how do I make it better, or change it, or try different things. And I know you guys put a lot of stuff in Sales Machine where it's like, and that's what's like, you're really doing it. Like, you're really closing deals every week. It's not like, hey, I did this once and now I'm gonna,
Yes.
repurpose it, which a lot of people do. But it's like, when you're on the phone and you're calling, and you're always trying to get to that next level, or figure out like, okay, this person's not buying, why aren't they buying, and how do I change up what I offer and everything else. So it's
and
it's a real
and
deal.
we're also,
Thank you, Joe.
Real stuff.
I really appreciate that, Joe. And like, I feel like Sales Machine got way better when we started even sharing like what didn't work for us. Like, what were some of the ways that we fell short, or some of the really big mistakes that we made in trying to land these big clients. And so it's kind of like a play-by-play as we're growing this thing.
Yeah.
Someone asked a question: when does enrollment for Sales Machine reopen?
January.
Michael said January.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're coming right up on about 90 minutes. So I think we busted out most of these questions.
Yeah. And anything that we didn't get answered, or if we missed something, again, use that support desk, guys, and one of us will get to you as soon as we can.
And I think I'll see if we could set up a type form or something that people could pre-put their questions in, because that'll help out too. Because then, if they can't attend the webinar, they could re-listen to it and still get their questions answered. So I'll see about setting something like that up.
Let's end at 89 minutes, because is that a prime number? I like to end at a prime number here. All right. This guy's crazy.
That's
89, a prime number. The internet says yes.
All right. Well,
next
we better
is 97 after that.
All right, guys. Everyone have a good rest of the night. Have a good week next week, and we'll be posting the next webinar, and we'll be talking.
Prime number, Joe. Come on, end it.
Get it.
I'm going. Hold on.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
All right. We'll see you later.